Sunday early evening. It's about 5:30. Wrapping up the weekend. Stormy out there to our north, so we came south where it's supposed to be pretty clear for the rest of the evening, in the hopes of just having some family time. Got the kiddo with us today. As parents, we know, especially the parents of our widowed parents, of kids who have lost parents. Life is tough anyway, right? Our kids have been through so much, and we just want a nice, normal, safe school year where they have the opportunity to grow and do all the fun things and have all the learning experiences that they should as kids and young adults to grow into their own young adult lives. I know mine is going to the 11th grade, which is crazy to me, so she's 16. So my child is going into the 11th. It's been a tough few years for her, you guys. Some of you all of my widow and widow families can relate. Our 2ndChances family with kids. Woo! I just kind of got splashed there with a wave, but it's nice out here though. It feels nice. I don't want to go too far out so that the waves don't soak the phone, soak the camera. But so those of you guys, widow and widower families with kids going back to school this year, maybe some of them are going back to school this year. This might be their first year back to school without their parent that they lost. So we know that's hard. Aria was in the 7th grade when we lost her father. Tough age, 13. And it was kind of towards the end of the school year, end of that 7th grade year, when he passed away unexpectedly. So it's really been a long, hard journey for both of us, but especially for her. So I know you guys as young widowed and widowed families, especially those of you guys with children, can relate. So if your kids are going back to school this year for the first year back to school, after the loss of their parent, how are they feeling? What are your concerns as a parent? Did they end the school year last year with the loss of their parent, or did they lose their parent over this summer and they have to still go back to school because, as we all know, life goes on. It just has to. That's the way of the world. That's the way of being a human, right? Life has to go on regardless of circumstances. But it's really tough, and it can be really tough for a lot of our kids who are again entering a new chapter of their lives without one of their parents. We're happy and we're moving along, and she's doing her own thing as a teenager, a 16-year-old who is learning how to drive and got her permit to drive, and asking me all the time for when is she going to actually get a car of her own, which, for her might happen here at some point over the next few months. But it's hard. It's different without, the parent that they've lost. So for those of you all with kids that are going back to school after the loss of their parent, whether it has been a few months or a few years, we get it. That's a subject that we just kind of continue to, as the parents, have to love and support and be there for our kids, and kind of try to encourage them to continue to cope with things in the best way that is possible, which means maybe expressing and sharing their feelings and being allowed to have those emotions, while at the same time carrying on with the life that is intended for them as little human beings. but it can be hard. There's another, you know, I guess we think a lot about we think a lot about birthdays and anniversaries, or anniversaries of people's passing away, Christmas and holidays, but what about back to school? That's another tough, could be another tough transition time for kids. I'm super grateful for these two right here. They fill my heart with love every day, even in the trying times. Just so grateful for life. I had to get to a place where I felt grateful for life. As so many of you know, as widows and widowers, it can be really hard to feel optimistic or positive or see the good in things. It takes time. It certainly does. But then when you can get to a point where you can see the good, it doesn't mean that you don't, you know, ever feel sad or recognize that life has difficulties. It doesn't mean that we forget or still don't, or it doesn't mean that we don't miss the ones that we've lost. We just recognize how amazing, full of love and life, full of love that life can be. So on that note, I am gonna sign off from South Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida this evening, where the sun is setting here. Well, getting ready to set. We probably got another hour, a little bit more than an hour of daylight here in Florida. Where the sun is still up. Probably for the next hour or so. Sunset is what, you guys? This time of year, 8 something, 8:30. I love the summertime. What's your favorite time of year? For me, it is definitely the summer, just because I am one of those chicks that loves sun, daylight, and time to just chill and enjoy. And I happen to like warm weather. I prefer to be hot than cold. And it's really hot here in Florida sometimes. Some of you guys that are from other climates would probably, you know, not necessarily like it so much, because it is pretty warm. It's humid, it's hot. But for this Florida chick, I will take the sun and the steam and the hot any day.